All right, let's jump into things. Another action-packed night overnight, and look, we'll start off with DXY, but with DXY actually. So where are we at? 10:37 on 14th of February, Valentine's Day. Hey. Anyway, look, let's get into it. DXY. We had a little bit of sort of back and forth with this here. Couple of headlines, couple of things sort of shooting up and down. As you can see, it was making it a little bit difficult to get through these levels. But as you can see, these little red circles that we've marked out is where we expected the market to react. And if we get onto a lower time frame, it's just sort of almost a coincidental sort of thing that each time we hit these zones, some sort of headline comes out. Like it's almost a joke, but these spots have been hit and reacted to. I mean, these are the ones we put on start of the week from the weekends, and then we're like, look at the bear flag setting up. We wanted to move up here early, move down. We expected a reaction around here with this target. Boom. We had CPI, came up here, sold into, bang, all the way down here. Now, I'll get onto these other parts in a second. Just in relation to these kind of moves through here, and namely this one here on CPI. I was explaining this to a mate, sort of, it's sort of like learning more of the fundamentals of this kind of sort of stuff. And, it's okay, yeah, the data does this, the market should act like this, yada, yada, that's cool. The market did exactly what it should have done. It wasn't a shock to sort of see US dollar fly to the top side with a higher CPI print. I covered this the other day. That's four prints in a row where they've seen a steady increase. They haven't taken out sort of previous highs of the can't see me doing the doing the air quotation things, the highs of CPI. So that'll be around 4%. That's when sort of major alarm bells will be sort of ringing. Um, but it is slightly ticking up, slightly ticking up, slightly ticking up. The fact that it moved up, market strengthened with this because the idea there is that obviously, the Fed aren't in such a hurry to cut, and certainly not at a higher rate. If inflation's moving in the wrong direction, sort of cutting is just going to sort of exacerbate that problem. So they're not talking about high. I did say I saw one cute article, sort of saying that hikes are back on the table. Like, this is just complete garbage drumming up shit. Like, not at this point are they going to fucking hike rates. Um, but the thing is, they're going to hold rates or cut at a slower rate. That's plausible, and that's why you saw a market fire up this. That's fine, and that's the actual data print. That's cool. The price action around this, though, I think is what is really telling. And this is what I've sort of based a lot of my sort of trading around is the sort of reaction of what is the market actually doing. And, like as corny as it can sort of be, what's the story that it's telling you? You say this to people that's sort of like, oh, and you sound a bit poxy, I get that. But the thing is, the chart is telling you a story. And the way I explained it to him is kind of like, if, just using numbers of this. You're selling US dollar. You think US dollar is going to go down here. Now we know it has a little bit more. But if you sort of see US dollar sort of coming down here, call this $3, and you want to sell it because you know it's coming down here, going down to $2. Something happens. Headline comes out. All of a sudden, bang, it's up here, and it's $5. Well, now you can sort of sell what you were going to sell at $3. You could sell for $5 because you know it's going to $2. Bang, they just slam into it. They've used this occasion of this little bit of data, and they do this with the headlines and that as well, as you'll see. Um, there's a catalyst, a plausible reason. The CPI fires up here. Great, you were going to sell it at $3 anyway. Now you can sell it at $5. Boom, sell, 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 and they move into it. So even though you've got sort of somewhat, a CPI moving up, the fundamentals are saying that sort of like, the Fed can't sort of cut at such a quick rate. They're going to hold for longer. That's all dollar positive. The market has still said, I don't care. It's going to $2. I want to get out here. So they've sold into it, and that's the price action that we saw afterwards. Now, moving through the next sort of part of this trade here, we've sort of seen, okay, this was the sell down yesterday. We expected to get a little bit of a reaction around this area. And yet it did. It moved up. It looked like it was going to roll over and just curl over at one stage and just come straight and sort of melt down to that next level. But, obviously we had a couple of headlines out. Oh, geez, yawning. Barely slept. But we had a couple of headlines out, a couple of bits and pieces to sort of say, hey, look, you know what? I can't remember what it was specifically. Oh, that's right. It was curling over to come down like this. The market then just sort of goes, oh, what was the quote? Bear with me one sec. What was it? There's one here. Yep. Trump says today is the big one, reciprocal tariffs. That's it. Says a line, and I don't know how much in terms of money this represents across the board, given everything. But one line and the market just goes poof like this. Like have a look on a slower time frame. This move, where was it? I think it was this one here, and just went straight up. And then up here, bang, sold into afterwards. But point being is, it just takes one headline, one thing, and it just bang goes right up there. So for whatever reason, they find a reason and they say, yep, let's shoot it up. Cool. Let's unpack the next part though, because this is our bear flag. We had a break, we had a retest on the inside, rolled over, came out, second effort, lower low on the outside of that bear flag, came up here. We then had PPI last night. PPI also came in a little bit hot. So refresh this one here. So PPI revised up from 2% up to 5%. Expected 3%, comes in 4%. The core also revised up from 0 to 0.4%. I mean, I guess technically that makes that a sort of tick down now, but not really. Came in as expected. Don't fucking keep yawning. I need another coffee. Went and dropped the car in this morning as well. So anyway, back on PPI. So this moves up. This is all dollar bullish as well, because remember, this is producer price index. So kind of up the stream of the consumer. If they're paying more for their stuff, you think they're going to just absorb all the cost? No, they're going to sort of pass that on. It's going to pass that on. It's going to go down the stream to the consumer, which in turn then in theory raises CPI. So, that's another reason for why you might sort of be seeing it move on a little bit further. But the reaction was absolutely muted. It was actually, if you can, you might, it was that quick, the very initial reaction. Actually, I've lost where were we? It was this part here, this candle here, this little candle here. And this is on a 2 minute, so I think it was that quick, you won't even see it on a 1 minute. Maybe you will see it on the 1 minute. But so this candle here, as you can see, the time down the bottom here says 12:30. So this is the candle, and it dumped initially. Aussie spiked, and then hold on, wait, moved up. And I think that's a very odd, and I was saying this to mate as we're watching it, that's very odd price action to have around this period, because that's dollar bullish sort of stuff. I mean, you're already kind of moving up because of your Trump headline, and then you move up here, and it just dumped, and then moved up. And then obviously sort of melted down and took a little while, sort of a bit of back and forth with it all. But the point being is that sort of like, again, it's a dollar bullish bit of data that came out, and the market just smashed into it. They didn't run that up at all. So where are we? So here, they didn't run it up at all. They sold into it and sold and bang, 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 and eventually succumbed to the downside there. In terms of sort of where it came to is quite important as well, because this obviously is our bear flag. That retest is pretty much to the cent. Like you don't get much closer of a retest than that. And it's also the confluence of this previous zone that we had sort of drawn up yesterday's analysis. So two segments of the market there, and they smashed into it. Came right down, hit that second target. Same as this target up over here, same as this target over here. We expected a reaction, and we got it. bang, moved up, and then more headlines. So where do we go? Middle of the night here. It was again Trump sort of stuff. I'm just trying to find sort of which one it was, but basically it was talking about the tariffs and sort of saying that sort of like they were going to tax the countries that they were going to sort of treat things like VAT, which I assume is don't fully quote me on this, but pretty much the same as a GST, as a tariff, and that obviously that shot the market up again. Have a look at the reaction here. Bang, moved up here. That all lasted all of like 5 minutes, and then came down here. This actual move here though was I caught. I put this post on X. I caught this bottom right here, just at like 70. And admittedly, look, it went boom. I got it on two accounts. Moves up here, bang, I close these ones like this. It was like 2 minutes or so. Not even, I don't know. It was like bang, bang, and I was out. It was good. I mean, I had the positions, but just for that little trade, boom, boom, that was a nice one, little middle of the night. Anyway, whatever. Let's keep going on. So as you can see, every occasion, every headline, for whatever reason the market chooses to sort of shoot this thing up, it's getting smashed into. Where we're at right now, bear flag, pole, flag, move. This is our price target now. So look, there's going to be a couple of little areas. Like we got, as you can see, there's a little zone that we're coming into here where it decided to stop overnight. Now, this isn't a major low, but it is a low since this pullback here. So you probably may expect a little bit of sort of stuffing around to this area, but I don't imagine this to be the big thing. I think the bigger thing at play here is this bear flag, which is sort of coming down over here. And target, as I said, 105.80, pretty much into the zone. What we'll do is we'll make it on par with this here, which will give you kind of these body fills over here. So this is where we expect the buyers to be sitting to give it another shot. This is our price target. Front, whatever that's worth. So this is our price target. That's where we expect the buyers to be sitting to give it another shot. We know this because same sort of similar thing. We've seen them back here. We've seen them here. First time back into it, we're bound to see them down over here as well. Whether this comes here, this kind of stuff along here, this is where we're sort of targeting now. And I think you'll be seeing people take their short profits around this point. I think you'll see buyers try to give it another shot around this point. This also plays into the main plan of this, which is kind of a little bit like this now, which I would have said, I was about to say maybe got a little bit of a head and shoulders here, but it's a bit too scrappy. But the general plan is this. So we get a target down here, then we start to see a bit of US dollar buying up to similar to these highs over here, back up to 107s, and a second effort down through this area, and then we look at 101. That's long term, couple of months, 6 months, whatever. That's not happening tomorrow, but this is the general idea, and this is how I'll be sort of basing my trades based off this potential structure playing out. Obviously, if it doesn't hold here, if it doesn't get down here, look, we'll call audibles. We'll change as we go. But for right now, this bear flag has broken twice, lower low, retested, still pushing down. I think we've got some more downside with US dollar to come through here. A couple of levels where we might see some reaction. It's down over here as well. But I would say that's pretty much the target that we're looking at in the medium term. All right, let's have a look at gold. And it continues to rip. Obviously, sort of like, came down here. We got almost down to that 78%. I mean, look, I wouldn't have held it anyway. But the other night I was saying that sort of, I said this in a video yesterday actually, the analysis that, talking with the main, we both were looking at this, he trades futures, but we were both looking at this level here. Like, if it gets down here, I'd love to buy it. And of course, didn't quite get down there. That's fine, whatever. Had other positions. Where we're at the moment, look, it's opened up. It's moving a little bit up to the top side here. A little bit of a gap up, retests, close the gap. I'd say above sort of 35, which we're at 32 now. Certainly looking to fill that wick. Okay, look for wick fill. This is obviously just a deep sort of pullback moving up here. You'd expect probably a little bit of resistance at this point over here. But like I was sort of saying in yesterday's video, we had this sort of nice little like, where were we yesterday? We were down over here actually. This is where we were. So as you can see, sellers, knocked it down, popped through, that's fine. Retest. So all your sellers here, here, become your buyers and springboarded it up through there. So you sort of can play this out again as well. So we drag this across here. We knew that the sellers were sitting over here, down to these points here, tapped in, didn't quite make it these times, but bang, we've moved out through here. So look, whoops, what was that? All right, so where to from here? As I said, the confirmation is the top side here, 35 to move. It's only up to 42. It's only a $7 move through here. But I would say that with US dollar potentially selling down, this having done a decentish kind of little shakeout, like again, this is just off that last move up through there. But how far did it end up coming? Down to that wick there. $80. Jeez, there was a time $80 there would have been sort of everyone sort of screaming for the hills and that. It was a bit of a shake. Obviously, I caught the shorts through a large segment of this, but I've been trying to buy through this area back over here. And we're coming up, nice V shape. Most likely there'll be a little bit of an issue getting through this. I'll be interested to see. But certainly if you take out 44, it's on its way. And geez, you got to think where to from there. Does this carry through? No, not really. No, I can't really make anything work there. It's one of those things where you kind of really into all-time highs. I'd have to play around with this to work out where I could plausibly put my next sort of price target. I think sort of potentially if we actually sort of drag this back a bit, this was the larger kind of triangle that I used to get that price target up over 29.15-ish kind of area. Potentially you could be sort of working with something like this. I'm not, as I said, I went for the safer bet, which proved to be correct. As I said, as we saw, that had that $80 pullback. But a larger one of this, again from the same breakout level, and it doesn't give you a great deal of movement, but it puts you up around those 60s. So another $30 move. So look, I would comfortably sort of say if you take out the highs, you probably go into the 60s. It's hard to sort of say because I've been Team 3000 for a long time, and that's going to be a monster level. So is it going to get close enough? I mean, look, if US dollar keeps selling down, there's no reason why those flows can't obviously sort of, apart from going into the crosses, also come into the gold market as well. So certainly not done for now, in my opinion. We do have the potential for a double top should it reject from this area, which is actually quite plausible that you get a move, up into this zone, down, and then moving through like this. I think that's probably your play there. Like it is it just depends. Has this been enough of a shakeout that the games are done? Or do they continue to play the games on the way up? Because that's all this kind of stuff is. It's profit taking, but they're obviously going lower, and then rip it all the way back up. So, it's just you're getting into a very hot zone up around here for potential double tops. But I don't see the reason that, just double top kind of thing here means that gold's going to be and have a major top through this zone here. So I still think we've got some upside to go there. Um, well, we could actually do, yeah, look, it's moving through. I think the main thing is just to see what happens around this zone here. All right, silver. So we had a couple of sort of conflicting technical analysis on this. We had the sort of, the channel, which it broke, back test came down. That's fine, we got in there. I put a post on X yesterday about this particular kind of setup. So if you put it on 4 hour, you might be able to see it a little bit better. So where it's at, it defines a nice solid horizontal. It hits it, comes into it, takes out those lows, goes down deeper. Hits it, takes out these lows, goes down deeper. If this actually comes back up here and goes through 50, 3250, 3260, this kind of area here, I think we're moving pretty quickly up to 33. Look, we're not there yet. I mean, as I said, you need that confirmation to get up there. But to me, that would be a kind of repeating action that we've seen a couple of times. Solid line here, pop up to the top side. Had a couple of these marked out. Can't see them now. Oh, here we go. This is another one. Defined line. Taps in, takes out the lows. Taps in, takes out the lows. And bang, moves up. And as you can see, these moves up aren't just like that move down there. It's not like whoop, straight back up to it. It's chop change, chop change, chop change. So if we look at where we are right now, moving back up, chop change, chop change, chop change. So I think this is going to be an interesting area. But certainly, as I said, I think above 32, you're looking at 32.50, 32.60, you're looking up to 33 for the next zone. So we can see a little bit of a zone up over there. 33, overshoot 33.50. So still some upside potentially with that there. It has tried to sort of hold the underside a couple of times, as you can see, of this sort of previous channel. I think if you can blow through this, it pushes it back potentially into that channel and possibly actually just negates the whole thing. I'll be deleting it at that stage should we move back up over here. I think it's had a couple of chances to use this as a previous support, turned into resistance. You go through it here, it's crossed over it enough times for me just to delete it at that stage. But again, I think sort of possibly a little bit of upside coming here with silver. We got Aussie finally got its breakout. After endless bits of tussling. We saw yesterday, obviously, try to move up, bang, and it just got absolutely slammed all day. It had a little bit of a push up, but if you get onto a lower time frame and you just look at how it traveled through the day, where was it? Here. From the top of the range, up around those 90s, like through Asia, slowly moved up, held, and then just boom. And it just could not catch a break coming down here. I actually loaded up with a fair bit down here, probably a little bit oversized. So, you know what I mean? One thing I've realized as well is if I oversize myself, I kind of freak myself out a little bit. Look, it worked out well, but it means I'm just too quick to take profits on some of the positions. So I'm not maximized. It's not like you load up and you've ridden the whole full weight all the way up here. Yeah, I get out here, here, kind of thing. Um, but it's just if you don't have as big a position, it's probably a little bit easier to hold because it's particularly if you sort of like buy here and then it just drops and it goes up and down and up and down. It's like, oh, profit. Oh no, profit drawdown, profit drawdown, profit drawdown. I know in a perfect world, well, this is respected the chart perfectly. I mean, this is the zone. This is the zone we've been working off, bottom of this range, and kissed into here and took off again. So you put your stops down over here. But again, if you're oversized, yeah, it plays with the mentality a little bit. Anyway, that's a bit of self-reflection with that sort of stuff. But anyway, long story short, obviously held that lower zone where it needed to, rocketed up here. This was around CPI this point here. As I said, if you have a look on the time frame, lower time frame here, CPI, where we're here, it's spiked up. Very quickly came back down, of course, but that was very odd price action for something that was seemingly dollar bullish for Aussie to go and spike up and down kind of thing. So, and then obviously dribbled down and then took off later in that. But point being is that that's not what you'd expect with a hotter PPI print. Where are we at? So obviously, look, played around with this area here, broke out, broke out, broke out, and eventually, boom, I was saying to mate, 70 was what I was looking for the line to beat. As you can see, pretty clear cut line through here for 70. I mean, a little bit tipped over here, boom, boom, boom. But if you drag this across over here, this is why I chucked orders in here. I thought the retest may have come here and then gone bang. But the point is, came back, retested topside of that little resistance area, which it's like, as I said, it's through this whole area here. I'm like, come on, through the 70s. We're moving up, a little bit to recovery. No, headline out from Trump, bang. Going here, PPI, boom, 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 around as well, and flew up here. Further sort of notes through the night, notes that are headlines, whatever, was obviously the tariff thing, where he said he was going to sort of like charge all the, he's going to sort of not see any difference between VAT, which is basically, as I understand, same as GST, and a tariff. And obviously, Aussie doesn't like the tariff kind of stuff anyway. Bang, came down here, very quickly undid that, moved up through here, and then sort of course, through the night, we had actually, I sent this to a mate just before. Where is it? This one? Yeah. This is it. And this is like what I think actually sort of really got things to sort of hammer back the other way. Um, so for proposed fairness and yada yada. Look, long story short, whatever you tax the US, they're going to tax you. You can pause it and read it for the few people that watch this. But point being, that is tariff cooling. It's not this incredible, hey, we're going to charge you 60%, we're going to charge you 100%, we're going to charge you 25%. None of this sort of stuff. It was more just, hey, look, you know what? Let's keep things fair. You know what I mean? Whatever you tax us, we're going to tax you in terms of tariffs. And the market loves that. Market's like, fine, yeah, that's a fair deal. We're happy to do that. It doesn't mean that somebody's going to be starting a trade war. I mean, there's no what trade war is there? It's sort of like, you tax us, we tax you. It keeps everything sort of vaguely even. So that got Aussie to get this last little kick up into here and eventually, bang, got into our zone. So I took profits at 18. We've pulled back very minimally at this stage. We're back at 14. Obviously came down to 10 at one stage here, which is pretty much the back test, I think, of that gap. As you can see, just down over here from Monday a week ago. Chuck onto a time frame we can work with. So obviously with this, I thought this breakout was going to come here a little bit quicker. Push down. It's coming here. Push down. Boom, 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 boom. So there's a fun sort of analogy with the beach ball. Where it's sort of like, if you think about it, you got your beach ball. Oh, where's your beach ball here? That's your beach ball. And you push it down, let go, pushes back up. Push it down, pushes back up. Push it down. The further you push it down, the more it comes back up. Push it down, comes back up. Push it down. Because eventually, it just goes pop and shoots out to the top side. And that's the sort of beach ball kind of analogy. You can only hold it down for so long with it all. So we've seen the pop. This is the move that we're kind of looking for now. Any sort of nice sort of retest pullback into this zone, I think will be a load time through here. And then I think that's when you look for second test through this zone, because remember, this is a resistance we had from a couple of weeks ago, only just tipped into it, but things don't break through first time, hence why I took the profits at the 18. Let it sort of cool off a little bit. This is a nice move through here. I mean, even from these lows down here, 50, to up to, that's a 70 points. That's over a percent move from the lows of yesterday or last night. Even in this one move from here, we went from 69 or 70. That's another 50 points, bang, straight up there. So let the market take some profit. We're seeing, as I said, at the same time, DXY, as I said before, is coming into a little bit of a support area. And it's not that Aussie is part of DXY, but it means that sort of like the market will sort of view US dollar as potential a little bit of a short-term buy or a short-term profit taking. That's not going to be strictly only held for DXY participants. You're going to see it as a broad sense across the market with the Aussie in that as well. So as this comes in, this is what cross-chart confluence is. That you're coming into your support area, he's coming into the resistance area. Well, what do you think's going to happen? They're both going to sort of flip and come back. Doesn't mean you're going to see a massive reversal. Doesn't mean you can't. Anything's possible. But most likely you're going to see a little bit of profit taking here. And I would guarantee you probably if you flip across to sort of some of these other ones, have a look at Euro. Euro's probably coming into a bit of a resistance area as well. As we'll see, the highs just over here. Get rid of this one. Coming into a little bit of resistance area. It's not a major one or anything, but it's the previous highs that we saw, and the market sold it down from there. First time back into it, market will sell it down from here. So you look for these to sort of pull back to maybe the most recent highs over here, and then move forward like that. And that's what we're trying to replicate in our own fashion with the Aussie, because we're seeing it coming into a little bit of resistance area. Resistance area. This is probably a bit more meaningful than the one I just showed on Euro, but the point is still the same. So anyway, long story short, look for a little bit of a pullback down here. Anything around 63, I think, is something worth having a shot, or that I'm going to have a shot at. Get back on board. Look for this second break here, and the second breakthrough here is your major breakout. And then, we've got this potential rising resistance. Not a big fan of it. I think 70s is probably more your level that you're looking at. And then sort of course, major price target at 64.20s. And this could be coming potentially if we get a strong close to the week. We got retail sales tonight from US. They're tipped to be coming down. That's dollar weakish. The chart says it's weak. So I think there's a good chance that we get a proper little breakout here. Of course, we've seen potential for a breakout, fail. Potential for a breakout, fail, fail, fail. I've said this, like Aussie, the market, one of the market's favorite pastimes is just selling Aussie. So, there's very much it could come a lot deeper than this. But that's why I sort of like, you don't go sort of full balls with your first entry, but I'd say a little bit of a pullback around that 63 zone, 63, 63.10 sort of thing. I think I'd be sort of, looking to sort of add to these sort of positions here, and certainly on a break past 63.30. All right, and flip across, we've got copper. Copper just reaching for the sky. It's moving up, 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 up here. So I said, where was it? I think this is the next zone, obviously. Yeah, up around here. So it's just continuing to absolutely rip. This, if we put this on a higher time frame, we can see really where this came from. Actually, maybe the daily will have it better. Yeah, the daily's got it there. So as you can see, this big one that we had last year, around the same time of the year, actually, because I remember I just went to Japan just as this was like going on an insane run up through here. So this is obviously a little bit earlier. We're in Feb now, but as you can see, this big sort of falling resistance here, one little tease out, stuff around with it all, and it's bang, exploded up over here. So yeah, look, moving up, I'd say it's probably got 4, 8, 9 in its sights. It's very close now, as I said yesterday. I mean, remember, this was just yesterday. Actually, 2 days ago, we were down here. And I said, first thing, fill the body over here. If you fill the body over here, there's a good chance we get that push through. We've obviously seen that through. And it's gone another, so a couple of percent, by moving towards that 3% move up to 4, 8, 9. And I think you'll probably see some profit taking up around this area over here as well. So yeah, certainly on an absolute rip at the moment. And finally with China. So China got its big break yesterday as well. So now we're sort of really looking at a couple of little levels through here. But this is the level 722 that I'm really looking to break, because I think that's going to be a big one. There's going to be little zones through here. I mean, we'll probably see something through this area here, 61%. But realistically, this big triangle, this big yellow line is where we're looking for as a price target. So if we get onto the low time frame again, we can see that this was, where are we at here? This is the area that we were sort of playing with. This little sort of consolidation. We saw tease out to the top side, counterbalance, tease out to the bottom side, into the here, mid-range. So I will say this, so like when you've got these ranges, look for that midpoint as well. As you can see how the amount of times it's rejected off here, and it just broke and went down here yesterday. So where it went to, I thought maybe this area would have held. Obviously it didn't, came down a little bit lower, but the point is still the same. The break, the retest, underside of the underside of this big rising support, break, retest, double retest, and then bang, lower low, and absolutely hammered down here. So you can see obviously sort of those lows from Jesus, are we going back? 2 weeks or so. Well, it feels ages. I suppose it's a 1 hour time frame, isn't it? Put on the 4 hour. So yeah, you can see obviously some buying happening down around here. It really kind of closed quite deep into this wick area. So to me, this is probably more of a back test, and then we look for this to flip, or it probably won't flip in this candle. We got to 1 o'clock, but to get the next candle, and then that to drive down here, and then probably see another little leg down to around the sort of 726 area, just a little bit below. But you're seeing these things play out in the other markets. You're seeing Aussie break out as this breaks down. Stronger one, okay, more confidence over there. People want to invest more over there. If they've got more money coming in, they've got more money to play with. More money to play with means that they can buy more Aussie products. They can do more manufacturing. They can buy more products, the mining and all these kind of bits and pieces as well. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of flow on effects with this kind of stuff here. But I think we just sort of ride out start of the little Asia. Generally after these big sort of turbulent sessions, we'll see things sort of like simmer a little bit. So I'm not expecting much through the session, to be honest. But I do believe we still have a little bit of downside to go here as well. All right.